everybody. Welcome to Phone Age News. I'm Nostradamus. Uh, it's going to be a bit of a slightly weird video tonight. A couple of weird things to show you. But before we start, I'm just going to show you something and you've got to guess what it is before the end of the video. Okay? It's just a little bit of fun. Here we are on Cyclocane, which shows you the latest hurricanes, cyclones and typhoons and tropical storms going on at the moment on the planet. Is showing you the remnants of Eloise, another bit of turbulence in the Indian Ocean, heading in the same direction. This one here, just another little bit of turbulence. This little bit of turbulence, which is a bit weird, just off the coast of southern Portugal and northwestern Africa. Low chance of tropical cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. 10%. In the next 5 days. 10%. But I don't know if anybody else checks on Cyclocane. I've shown this website before, so maybe one or two of you have been looking at it. And if you have, you will have also noticed that this area here has been meandering around this area. It must be for about 2 months, and it always says the same. 48 hours, 10%. Next 5 days, 10%. And I swear that this has been here, moving about the same area for 2 bloody months. Oh, and there's nothing there weather-wise. Not much to see. Really weird. I'm a little bit late tonight. It's 20 to 5 on a Monday morning here in the UK. Slipped into some bad habits. Sleeping all day and being awake all night. Why not? No else to do is bloody lockdown and stuff. So I can do what I want. Any road, I've been out methane hunting again. This is the very latest. Got my freezing altitude up, which shows the methane bubbles when they erupt. And we've got an area of interest. In this area here, west of Greenland, it's part of the Canadian archipelago, I suppose, isn't it? Anyways, looking at the temperature in the region, we're about -12. Greenland's well below, and northern Canada's well below, -20s, 30s. There's a lot of warm sea temperatures and air temperatures spreading up through the channel here at the moment. And that's the surface temperatures. But if you move to higher altitude, that. There we go, 750 meters, 2,500 feet. We've got above freezing air temperatures at that altitude. Look at that. And the surrounding areas minus anyway, well below, around about -10 average. But we get near this area, and we actually get above freezing. I'm not entirely convinced it's a methane bubble myself, but looking at the prevailing wind direction, it does look as though it has originated from the land here. Here on Google Earth, and this is the area in question. It's full. It looks like it's full of potholes and maybe previous blowouts. Yeah, all them craters. So perhaps it is a prime suspect for large methane eruptions. I've never looked at this area previously. So have we had a little bomb go off in the middle of winter? I thought I'd see if we could find anything interesting going on in that particular area on Null School. This is the fucked up jet stream at the moment. I've highlighted the North Pole once again. That really looks quite normal, doesn't it? Anyway, let's look at where this area of interest is. It's, if I can find it again. It's here. This is it. This is the spot there. This is the area. So looking at the winds about halfway up in the atmosphere, we can see the area is at the centre of a large circulation. They go up to 250 hexapascals. So it's even more pronounced. We've got the jet stream here, and we've got this circulation to the west of Greenland, and this is where the freezing altitude is high, and the high temperatures at 750 meters off the ground, where the temperature here is higher than the surrounding area. Staying at 250 hectopascals, we're looking at the temperature of the atmosphere at that level. At the North Pole, it's about -60 degrees Celsius, and its surrounding area about -50, -43. It's a bit warmer there. -45, -44. But where the temperature at 750 meters is above freezing compared to well below freezing, in this area at altitude the temperature is below -60, -62. So it's really freezing high up in the atmosphere compared to the surrounding area, but very warm lower down in the atmosphere. Very strange. This is the latest sea surface temperature anomalies, and what I've gleaned from this is a worrying sign that the ocean currents are slowing down. 11 degrees, the heat seems to be building up here and not going, which it normally goes, past Iceland. 11 degrees C in this spot here, and it looks like it's splitting up, up, up the channel between Greenland and Canada and across the Atlantic towards the east. It's not following its usual path. It's quite worrying indeed. Also, La Nina looks as though it's fizzling out a bit now. It's very cold here. Well, we're getting some hot spots now in the eastern Pacific. That's not going to bode well for the coming summer, I don't think. Methane report. So here we are, looking from near the ground up to 300 millibars, and in the last 7 days the average has dropped by 0.2 parts per billion. It's been an ongoing decline in methane levels for several weeks, but I did suggest there'd been a methane burst off the eastern coast of Greenland last week, and indeed it does stick out like a sore thumb in the data. So I think that's almost conclusive proof that a methane burst did occur. Here we are comparing to same time 12 months ago. The blue line's the last 12 months and the red line is the previous 12 months, and the difference between the two grew up to, what was it, 17.5 parts per billion, and now it's dropped down to currently at 7.8 parts per billion. Here we can see this is this time mid-January last year. After the seasonal fall, it fluctuated a bit before it started its spring rise, and this year we've had a more steep loss of methane in the atmosphere, and now we're just entering the period now before it starts going back up again seasonally. The same goes for higher up in the atmosphere, from 477 right up to 151 millibars. These are 3-week averages plotted on the graph, and it shows that after the steep decline in methane levels, it's levelled off a bit, though it is still actually slowly falling. Looking at 300 millibars in particular, as you can see, for the past 14 weeks, we've been above 20 parts per billion higher than where we were last year. And it was up to 32.75 parts per billion higher than the corresponding week in 2020. We're fluctuating a little bit at the moment, so we'll see where it leads. Now, this is a brand new addition to my methane report. At this time of year, methane levels in the atmosphere should be levelling off and starting to rise again. That's just the natural seasonality of the stuff. But I've noticed that at 151 millibars, really high up in the atmosphere, the levels are continuing to drop rapidly. Now, I've only been taking measurements from these satellites since the end of June last year, and I've presented here all the data I've collected each week from the two METOP satellites. And these are the averages from the four measurements each week, and these are my 3-week means of the averages. As you can see, it's dropped almost 5 parts per billion. Was that 4.5 parts per billion just the last 3 weeks? So I've plotted them into a little graph for you to show you. And as you can see, the trend is still sharply downwards. I told you it's going to be a weird video tonight. Well, you wouldn't expect that to be happening. So something's going on up there. Let's see how we're doing with my projections for atmospheric methane concentrations by next November, this coming November. And what the yellow line, if it follows the yellow line, then by this coming November, the methane levels will be 27 parts per billion higher than they were last November. If it follows the red line, they'll be about 38 parts per billion higher than they were last November. And if it followed my blue line, then we would be at 72 parts per billion higher than where we were in November, the starting point of the graph. And as we can see, we followed the green line, which is what has actually been happening. It looked like it was started to follow the worst case scenario, and then the levels started to surprisingly drop quite dramatically. But now we're just looking like we're starting to rebound. So I haven't got any idea where this green line's going. It looked like it was just going to fall off the bottom of the chart. But now, because of the seasonality, when the red and the yellow projections were leveling off or even decreasing a little bit, current levels are rising. So I reckon, I'm guessing, going to end up by November. Ooh, red line-ish. Don't hold me to that. Now for some proper news. They always say no news is good news. And that's especially true if you're watching my channel. Anyway, I was researching the nuclear power plant, the planning on getting going in the Philippines. Like, they built it in the 70s and the 80s, and it never came into commission, and the thing's falling apart, all rusty and that, and they're on about firing it up. But it'll take them a few years to get that going, so I thought, well, while I was looking for that, I came across this, which is a bit more, relevant to what's going on today. So this is from Al Jazeera. Could the United Arab Emirates nuclear reactors imperil the Gulf? Reactor due to come online in March could elevate risk of an arms race and environmental catastrophe, says analyst. An expert warns of a lack of key improved safety design features that are normally expected on new European reactors but are missing from the UAE's nuclear plants at Barakah. I've only just noticed when I found this, and it's in 17th of January, I thought, oh, this is a new article. This is brand new news. I didn't know about this, and I've only just noticed it says 2020. I think we're all just stuck in 2020. I didn't even realise it was 2021. I'm gonna have another look at this in a minute after I've read it and see what's happened since. Anyway, let's read out what it says. When it comes to safeguarding the well-being of planet Earth, fossil fuels are an increasingly controversial energy source. Nuclear is arguably more so, given the experience of Chernobyl and the potential to convert civilian nuclear technology to military uses. Not to mention Fukushima. Well, they not even mention Fukushima. Those risks become even more ominous when a nuclear power plant is introduced into a tinderbox of geopolitical rivalries like the Arabian Peninsula. Ha ha ha! Well, that's where the region is headed. Significant questions about relative safety. A recent report by Paul Dorfman, chair of the non-profit nuclear consulting group, titled Gulf Nuclear Ambition, New Reactors in the United Arab Emirates, highlights myriad risks inherent in Barakah's design. Among the most prominent red flags is the firm that won the contracts to build Barakah, Korea Electric Power Corporation, KEPCO, which clinched the deal with a bid that was spectacularly low, about 30% lower than the next cheapest bid, the report says. That bargain basement price was made possible, the report notes, thanks to a lack of key improved safety design features normally expected on new European reactors, but missing from those built by KEPCO. Such features include a so-called core catcher to prevent the nuclear reactor core from breaching the containment building in the event of a meltdown, and other defences to guard against a significant radiation release in the event of an accident or deliberate attack on the facility. Further compounding these emissions, says the report, is the discovery of cracking in all four reactor containment buildings and the installation of faulty valves, all of which cast doubt over the UAE's ability to provide adequate nuclear regulation. KEPCO sounds like the you go shopping, you got the supermarket. It's like the Aldi or Lidl of the nuclear powered industry. This is a bit more recent, 7th of December. World Nuclear News. First UAE nuclear reactor reaches full power. Barakah Unit 1 has reached 100% power and is now generating 1,400 megawatts of electricity, the Emirates Nuclear Energy ENEC has announced today. The unit, which is operated by Nawar Energy Company, Nawar, is now the single largest power generator in the UAE and is due to begin commercial operations early next year, which is now. Unit 1 marks a new era for the power sector and the future of the clean carbon economy of the nation, with the largest source of electricity now being generated without any emissions. Whoa, that's great, isn't it? The Korean-designed APR 1400 reactor is one of 4 being built at the Barakah site in the Al Dhafra region of Abu Dhabi. Construction of Unit 1, the first nuclear reactor to be built in the UAE, began in 2012 and was completed in 2018. The reactor started up in July of this year and was connected to the grid in August. The unit has been undergoing power ascension testing under the oversight of the UAE's national nuclear regulator, the Federal Authority for Nuclear Regulation. The Barakah nuclear power plant is being built by a consortium led by the Korean Electric Power Corporation. Unit 2 was completed in July, and Units 3 and 4 are now 93 and 87% complete, respectively. When fully operational, the 4-unit plant will provide around 25% of the country's electricity and prevent the release of up to 21 million tonnes of carbon emissions annually. So, that's good, isn't it? There won't be the release of 21 million tonnes of carbon. It's the release of other things that worries me. Should anything happen? Not that anything will happen, seeing as they've cut so many safety features, and it's in the middle of Middle East, where all the countries get along so well with each other. Now, I've got a bit concerned hearing about the continued death of all the grey whales in the ocean. So I googled grey whale deaths, and the only thing I changed in my search was I want to do a search for stories in the news in the past week, and this shit comes up. The Wave, who the fuck's the Wave? Search continues for missing 81-year-old. Welfare concerns for 2 boys last seen in Bolides. I'm grey whale deaths. Jane Krawowski denies secret romance with My Pillow CEO Mike Lindell. Yahoo News Canada. Ottawa advocating to prioritise vaccines for Indigenous people. Meet Amanda Gorman, the youngest inaugural poet. Technocodex, a 10 billion year old super Earth, has been found in our galaxy, universe. I hope it's not our solar system. NHT who met Biden will play a special role on Inauguration Day. NFC Championship preview. Can the Bucks defense slow down whatever? What the fuck has that got to do with all the grey whales dying in the ocean? What's going on here? That's the shit you get when you go on Google News. Just go on all. Don't go on news, just all. Prove it. News. There you go. Crap. All. And you get some grey whale death news. Oh my God. So this is from the 21st. Alaska's news source. Grey whale population drops by a quarter off the United States west coast. Researchers say the population of grey whales off the west coast of the United States has fallen by nearly one quarter since 2016, resembling a similar die-off 2 decades ago. NOAA Fisheries reported Tuesday that surveys counted about 6,000 fewer migrating whales last winter, 21,000 as compared with 27,000 in 2016. The agency declared an unusual mortality event in 2019 as dozens of grey whales washed up on Pacific Ocean beaches. Scientists aren't sure what has been causing the die-off, but they believe that it is within the range of previous population fluctuations and that the number of whales may have exceeded what the environment can support. Fucking NOAA Fisheries. There should be hundreds of thousands of them. They're dying because they're all fucking plastic shit. Be none left soon. There'll be none of us left soon because we're about to exceed what the environment can support. Fucking bastards. My regular viewers, thank you for being here for me, by the way. May have noticed that I've sort of neglected talking about the virus in my videos. Believe me, I could do loads of videos about Corona if I wanted to. Oh boy, are we in big trouble. And I don't mean from the virus itself. I could do loads of videos about it, but who's going to listen to me? All I can suggest is each one of you, if you haven't already, do your own little bit of research while you still can. You may be quite surprised just what you can find out from reputable sources other than the mainstream media. I do understand that drastic measures have to be taken to stop the whole planet and all its inhabitants, human and otherwise, from going under. But there must be more humane ways of going about it than what they have planned for us in this great reset. Did anybody get it? It was, of course, an algorithm. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to leave you with the last 6 years worth of fireball events from the American Meteor Society. So I'll see you all next time, if there is a next time. Stay safe, stay well, and goodbye.
I wish I was a spaceman the fastest guy alive. I'd fly you around the universe in Fireball XL5. Way out in space together, conquerors of the sky. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball. Every time I gazed into your starry eyes, we'd take the path to Jupiter, and maybe very soon we'd cruise along the Milky Way and land upon the moon. To a wonderland of stardust, we'll zoom our way to Mars. My heart would be a fireball, a fireball, 'cause you would be my Venus of the stars.